This is your girl Tanya Johnson Jones, and I am here to inspire you. Today, I will be sharing a part of my story with you. We all have challenges that we have to face at some point in our lives. And I thought about 4 major challenges, which I call a SEE, significant emotional event, that I've had to overcome to get to the place in life that I am in now. And so the part of the story that I'm going to be sharing with you is about my disability challenge. So I'm just going to give you some background information about myself and tell you how I've come to know this disability and how I've dealt with it, how I've overcome it, and how I've become this beautiful, confident woman sitting in front of you today. So as you all know, I'm Tanya Johnson Jones. I am married. I have a very supportive husband who I love very much. I have 3 children, and my mother, she lives with me and is a part of my support system as well. The oldest of my children is 23 years old. So a lot of times when I tell people that I have a 23-year-old daughter, they look at me and they say, "You don't look old enough to have a 23-year-old." And my response is, and will always be, "I'm not." And then I keep it moving. That'll be a different story on a different day. That is actually one of my challenges. So having a child at the age of 15 years old, I just found myself in situations that I didn't want to be in growing up. Once I had my daughter, I had something to live for. I had something to fight for. I had something to do better for, or someone to do better for. And so I had to make better decisions in life. And the first real decision that I made that impacted both of us greatly was joining the military. Straight out of high school, I joined the military, and the military was very, very good to us. I was good at it. I actually advanced in the ranks pretty fast, and it was something that I loved. And to be quite honest with you guys, the military is really when I started recognizing my life as I envisioned it to be for me and my child. You know, the military was something that I had planned to do 20 years in. I had planned to retire in it. Why not? I was a natural at it. Great soldier, good PT person. You give me something to do, I get it done. I was a natural born leader. So imagine the shock in 2003 when I was told that I was suffering from a night blindness. And how did that come about? Let me tell you. Everything was going fine in life. And one day at a Nightland navigation for EF&B, I was given some coordinates. And I set off into the woods to find these coordinates. And all of a sudden, I had an anxiety attack. I couldn't see. I was looking all around, and I was scared. I was nervous. I kept looking up for the trees, trying to look at the break in between the leaves and the trees to find my way. I just had a nervous breakdown. I wasn't sure what was going on. And, you know, after so much research, I was diagnosed with a night blindness. Okay, I still saw through the day. Everything was still good. So I continued to go on with my life. I just had a profile. No duties at nighttime, no driving at night. And, you know, life still went on. But in 2006, I had to go back to the doctor. Because in between 2003 and 2006, my vision started to deteriorate a lot. I still was able to do everything that I needed to do, but there were some very noticeable changes in my vision. So imagine the shock when the doctor came out with tears in his eyes, and he told me that he was sorry because I was going blind. He explained to me that I had a degenerative eye disease and that my vision will continually get worse until one day I'll be blind, and that I was no longer fit for duty. And I had a serious case of denial. I was like, what is he talking about? I can see. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Ain't nothing wrong with my eyes. You know, okay, I might fumble here and can't see at night, but it ain't that serious. Like, why is he crying? But that didn't change anything. That didn't change the diagnosis, and it definitely didn't change my discharge from the military. Coming out of the military was all that I knew. I was depressed. I suffered from anxiety. I was scared. I had been in the military for 9 years, and I had no idea what was going to be next for me and my child. By this time, I was married. I got married maybe a year before getting put out of the military, but my husband was deployed. And so I really had to try to figure this thing out on my own. And it was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do in my life, because I didn't prepare to be blind. Who prepares to be blind? I didn't prepare to be unemployed. And the military was what I knew. But now I had to learn something different. And how was I going to be able to do that with a disability? A disability that I didn't even know what it was, what it means, and how do you work with it? But as a mother, and being a single mother for so long, I know I needed to do something. I needed to do something for my child. I eventually got a job at the VA hospital. And while there, I was very bored. I was underpaid. I was underutilized, and I was very unhappy. My life was dull, and I just was like, there had to be something more in life for me. One day I got a call from a good friend of mine that worked at the Blinded Veterans Association. And she gave me a call and she said, Tanya, there's this company out I think you should know about. It's called National Industries for the Blind. And I was like, okay, I'm still a little in denial. What do they do? And she said, they have an internship I think you should take a look at. And she sent me the link. And I started researching this company and their mission and everything about this company. And then again, once I looked into it, there was hope. I thought the things that this company did for people that were blind and visually impaired was just amazing. I didn't even know that there was something like this out there. So a little bit about the fellowship program that she was telling me about. It was a salary program that focused on business, on-the-job training experience, and professional development. Their whole purpose in life was to enhance the careers of people that was blind and visually impaired. And this was just amazing to me. And so as I looked through this company and as I looked through their programs to learn more about it, I just got more and more excited about my future. The requirements for this job was to have a bachelor's degree, you had to graduate top of your class, and you had to be blind or visually impaired. This was everything that I was. I was so excited. I explained the whole company to my husband, and he told me he thought I should apply. And guess what? The salary was more than I was making at the Veterans Affairs. And so I got super excited about this opportunity, and I applied. I interviewed for 4 days down in Alexandria, Virginia. The office was beautiful. The people were nice. And even the interview process was rigorous. So I was excited. I felt, a zeal for life again. I felt like I had something to offer. I felt like this company was going to help me to reach my goals again. It was going to help me to continue to move forward in life and to not accept what I had. And so I was chosen as one of the 4 fellows for National Industries for the Blind for 2008. And it was an exciting new venture for me. Very exciting. I got to the headquarters in Alexandria, Virginia, and I got to learn all about the program and the Ability One program and how the National Industries for the blind and the visually impaired had contracts with the government, how they made things for the government, and just everything about the program. And this was just so exciting. I felt alive again. And one thing that I really, really appreciate about National Industries for the Blind, and that I will never forget them for, is that they never allowed you to use your disability as an excuse. They only focused on my abilities. They were never lenient with me about anything. If anything, they pushed me harder. And in doing this, it really wasn't like I had a disability. No one treated me different. No one made me, feel less than. They valued what I brought to the table, and this is where I got my fuel for life back. This is where I started to regain my confidence. And then I was sent out to the associated agencies to work there. And when I worked there, it was a totally different kind of feel. There, I dealt with a lot of emotional challenges. And partly because in the agencies is where they had a lot of visually impaired and blind individuals. And for me, being very new to the disability, to being very new to my eye disease, it was just a very emotional time. Although I focused hard on my professional development, I focused really hard on the different things that I had to accomplish for each agencies. I couldn't help but see the sometimes hundreds of blind people that were brought in every day. And, being very new to it, it really just made me feel like, gosh, I felt like my disability was placed right here. I saw what my future held for me. And that right there hurt. It was nothing that I could do about it. Trying to deal with these emotions and knowing that my eye disease was a degenerative eye disease and that my end state was similar to some of the individuals that I seen on a daily basis was something that, as a human, I couldn't possibly fathom for myself. Here I am, a normal person for 28 years of my life, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're going blind. And so as I worked through my programs and I seen the benefits that this company offered me, I have to think back on my life and say that I was raised in a church. I believe in God. And I believe that He placed different people in your lives for a reason. And I know for a fact that I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't be the confident woman that I am today if I hadn't had the experience to be chosen as a fellow, to work as a part of the National Industries for the Blind family, to be in the business leaders of all levels with National Industries for the Blind. They prepared me to live a life of independence with this disability. They showed me that there was nothing different about me than anybody else. They showed me that my abilities outshine my disabilities in so many ways. Without National Industries for the Blind, I wouldn't be the confident woman that sit before you today. That was the start of my visual impairment. That was the start of my life as a visually impaired person. That was the start of my life in the new place that I've never been. And they put me off to such a great and wonderful start. And I am just so grateful and blessed to be a part of that at such an early stage in my journey. Being a part of the National Industries for the Blind Fellowship allowed me to also get a job with an associated agencies after I got my master's degree. And doing that job gave me the opportunity to stand in front of a lot of people and tell my story. This is something that I became very, very proud of doing. I told the story of how National Industries for the Blind hired people that were blind and visually impaired and moved them in through a program to help them have some upward mobility in their life. I shared the story how they took a veteran like myself and gave me an opportunity to work and give back to life, to give back to society and live an independent life. I loved this as a job. I loved standing in front of people. Sharing my vulnerabilities of being disabled somehow gave me some type of empowerment. After my briefings, people would always tell me how much they enjoyed my story or how impressed they was with the way that I was able to work with my disability. And that is partly where I found my passion for speaking. My passion for sharing people that if I can do this and I can live this life and I can overcome these obstacles and these challenges that people face, that you can too. And so because of National Industries for the Blind, I am here to say that I love what I do. Motivate, inspire, and encourage others. So this is your girl, Tanya Johnson Jones, here to inspire you. God bless.